Well, welcome back to Snacks with Surprise. I'm Jeanine, the Economic Development Director for the City of Surprise, and I am so lucky. I've got one of my favorite guests in the whole world back with me a second time. I think our first ever second time guest, Bruce Takefman, the president of ResearchFDI based in Montreal. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I hope you had enjoyed a great holiday. Thanks for having me back on. It's an honor to be the first ever second guest.
Oh my gosh. Well, it wouldn't be anyone else. I always say you're my Canadian bestie, right?
Oh, stop it. No, we're all about what good Canadian-American relations is all about.
That's right. That's right. Well, we bond over so many things, but mostly it's food. That's what brings so many people together. You've chosen an interesting snack today. So I just want to highlight it. So I reached out and I said, what's your favorite snack? And you said Israeli wafers. So I took a little trip down to our international store here in the West Valley and
there they are. Yes.
Found some. I can't read it, but they look delicious.
Yes, as I mentioned before, less English on the box, the better. So Israel they have great biotech companies, great aerospace companies, but also amazing Israeli wafer cookies. So back in grade one, when I was 6 years old, I was introduced to these cookies. I was in French class, Madame Levy's French class in Hebrew school, and every time you get a French answer right, you get a wafer cookie. So for now, my emotions are wired. Wherever I do something good, a wafer cookie is automatically needed. So I keep wafers close to me all the time. In fact, I have one right now, and I'll look forward to enjoying that later on in the program.
Well, I'm opening them up right now, and I have to tell you, so that tells me you've been giving us so many great appointments in Surprise that I should be sending you boxes of these because we love our appointments that we get.
Thank you. So every time our team books a good meeting, send us a waiver, but if we have a bad one, you can take one back.
It sounds good. It sounds good. Well, you're doing a great job. And you're really branching out. I was so excited to hear your podcast. And then when you reached out, I was so excited to be on it. But you've got, I can't think of very many, but you've got an economic development podcast. Talk a little bit about the podcast, if you would.
Yeah, back in April, May, there wasn't really much to do. We were kind of locked down. So I was talking to my colleague, Amber Hunter, and you're like, hey, why don't we start an economic development podcast out of quarantine? Kind of semi out of boredom, semi out of something we always want to do. And I finally had time to do it because we weren't going around from trade show to trade show. So we had really a lot of time. So we started the Research Uncensored podcast, and we're happy that, that we've become the #1 podcast in terms of ratings, and we're getting great guests like yourself. You were the last guest, and I have to say, you being on the show led to the highest ratings. You even beat Ariel Hawani and Rod Miller. You're getting great ratings, and thank you for that. You're the last guest we had in 2020, and next year we're going to have economic development professionals. We're also going to bring in some CEOs to talk about their expansions. We're going to talk about companies that have actually made the move to expanding from location to location. So we're looking to diversify the podcast a little bit into CEOs, but still talk to economic development professionals as well.
That sounds great. By the way, delicious. I took a bite. I couldn't resist.
I'm going to jump in as well.
Please do. Please do. Well, and while you're taking a taste of these delicious wafers, I want to say you always have your pulse on what's happening out there in the world. And I think it's just the nature of the industry that you're in. You are making appointments with companies. You're constantly in the thick of things with respect to both economic developers and in the corporate world. And so you follow a lot of trends. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about trends that you see happening in 2021. And, not to be too silly, but I've got a list of some trends that were happening in 2020. And I would like to know if you would like to participate with me in a lightning round.
I would love it. I would bring it on. Let's do it.
All right. The lightning round is, I've got a list of things happening that are happening in 2020, but I want to know from your perspective, from your very educated perspective, yes, if you think that's a trend that will continue in 2021, or no, it's over, it's canceled. All right. Are you ready?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
All right, let's go. Okay, number one, the phrase "the new normal."
Yeah, I think it'll stay on for 2021, but hopefully by the summer it'll be over. We're all kind of fed up with it by now.
That's true. I probably use it all the time though myself. And okay, reshoring of manufacturing to North America.
Well, funny, it actually started to happen before COVID. So if you look at 2018, 2019, you notice some stats with that trend indeed happening. Continued, obviously, during COVID in 2020. So I think, yes, definitely continue into 2021 and 2022. Be a very important trend to follow in terms of recruitment. So I think, yes, it will continue.
Great. That'll be great for Surprise. So I'm glad to hear that.
Absolutely.
All right. Murder hornets. Yes or no? Yes, they're here, or no?
Oh, God. I hope not, but probably yes.
Right. All right. So yes or no, wildfires?
We're in Canada. We really don't have wildfires, but I think unfortunately for our friends in California, and you got your neck of the woods, yeah, probably will continue unfortunately in 2021.
I would agree. All right. A really serious one. The Tiger King.
Yes, I'm going to say President Trump will pardon the Tiger King and then receive some new Netflix episodes coming out. I say yes, it will continue. And Carol Baskin on Cameo, you can buy a 30-second cameo for $300. So yes, I think Tiger King will be a thing in 2021. All
right. Hand sanitizer.
Never leave home without it now. So yes, I think it's here to stay.
I agree. Good stuff. All right. So 2020, the trend was baking banana bread. Here to stay or over?
Yeah, I think, for my house, my wife constantly bakes it. My grandmother used to bake it. My mom bakes it. I guess for me, it's going to continue, and I love it. It's going to continue.
Awesome. It sounds delicious. All right. Toilet paper hoarding.
I think it'll stop in 2021 because I think now people have more confidence in supply chain. If it didn't stop in 2020, I think people will have more confidence, and I think it'll stop.
I love it. All right. Italians singing to each other from their windows.
I think it'll continue.
I love it. I hope it does. All right. TikTok.
I think it'll continue.
Right. Bike riding.
Yeah, also a very important trend to happen between 2010 and 2020. I think more important than ever, it's good for the environment, good for you. I think it'll definitely continue.
I hear it. I agree. It's great. We're getting healthier. All right. Pets and kids during Zoom meetings.
I got to back up a little bit. I mean, if you're eating all these snacks like we do on Snack with Surprise, it's very important to get on a bike and do a little bike ride, especially if you're locked down during COVID. So, sorry, what was the last one?
I have to ride my bike to Canada at this point with all the snacks.
I think we all do, yes.
Okay. So the pets and kids during Zoom meetings, is that here to stay? Or, yeah?
I think it's very, very much here to stay. I think people have grown to expect it. In fact, I have a 2-year-old son at home. He became part of my sales pitch. So whenever, I was trying to make a sale, I just bring kind of Jacob into the call and he would help me close the deal. So in fact, he's definitely a value add in marketing and sales.
People love kids. They love dogs. They love pets. So I love it. It's a great tactic. All right. Finally, the city of surprise.
I think it's only going to prosper from here on out, especially with your leadership. I think it's only going on up from here.
Thank you. Bruce, thank you so much for playing with me in the lightning round here. Thank you for your wonderful participation. You're always a good sport. Maybe tell people where they can find out more about ResearchFDI if they require services.
Yeah, thanks, Jeanine. You can find us on www.researchfdi.com. We're a full-service market research firm. We do lead generation, market research. We do strategy, target sector analysis. So look us up. You can also look up our podcast, Research Uncensored, on Spotify or Apple. So come on, listen, and give Jeanine's episode a 5-star review.
Well, thank you. And I wish you a very happy 2021. Give your son Jacob a big hug from me, and say hello to your family.
Thank you, Jeanine. All the best to you and your family, and Happy New Year to you and the whole team at the City of Surprise.
Thank you, Bruce.